Alright guys, give me just a second, I'm getting the rest of this stuff. I'm running behind like always. What is going on, YouTube? So, Tree Talk, episode, shoot, 18, I think. You would think I would go and probably double check that before we start, but nah, not me. Oh, we got both of the just some of my favorites. Billy and John, both here. Right on, John. Glad you could make it, brother. What's going on, Billy? I got a really fun one coming up for you guys. Should be kind of cool. It'd be next week. I'm gonna run up there. There's like a uprooted oak into another oak that's next to some power lines and next to a house on a hillside. So should be kind of fun. Today we are gonna do the normal like news, what I've seen in tree work for this week. Go over some like a few YouTube videos channels. Yeah, Trees is it's actually one of my favorite channels on YouTube when it comes to making YouTube videos. And to me, I love their content. Just doing some. Oh, right on, Billy. Cool. Yeah, they're one of my favorite channels. It's just so entertaining, and I kind of come from that like black metal, rockabilly, punk rock kind of music. That's what I played, all the way up into my mid 20s. And so like I just get it all. And seeing a guy that's a guy that's got a ton of knowledge, but like doesn't get too cocky with it. And I think that's a big problem on YouTube nowadays. Is well we'll get into it. I'll talk to you guys about it because there's a few things I want to go over. Like that, let's see. Yeah, it was a rough one. So today for the trick tip, let me kind of fix this. I look good? Dang, man. Sweet. Got me kicking my feet up, feeling good about myself. I appreciate it. William, what's going on, man? John. Yeah, so, I'm going to show you guys how to make a retrievable friction saver. And I'm going to show you a way to use a friction saver on spar work and stuff. The same setup, but you can make it retrievable for spar work. And a lot of times when you're doing spar work, you're running off of a DRT. So when you use a friction saver, usually it doesn't bite. That's the problem. You can't really use them unless they got a gap in them, and then you're still worried about them slipping. So I'm going to show you a little trick for that. And actually, we can start with that because I feel like some people may get onto this. The lovable friends. Oh, wow. Now dang, I look good and I'm weird. Son of a gun. You know what? If other people's opinion meant that much to me, I'd be in a lot of trouble right now if you crushed my ego. I don't know how you have a name like Lovable Friends and then be mean to me like that. That's not nice. Why would you do that? Did I do something mean to you? I could care less. You can say what you want. I don't care. Um, so, yeah, I'm going to do the trick tip early in the video because I think some people maybe run over here and will watch these just to get the trick tip. So we'll go straight into that, and then we can do the other stuff where I do a lot of talking with you guys and stuff. So, oh no, what'd he say this time? Oh no, he's the lovable friends is okay. He just maybe I'm not his type of guy. I'm okay with that. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. So, yeah, most time when you're climbing, you usually have a speed line strap. So, let me get this display thing real quick for this one, and then we'll switch over to the other one. Oh, here. So we got that. We use that to do this. And I'll try my best to keep up with comments. But yeah. What's going on, Ground Pounder? Okay, so you make a retrievable friction saver using a speed line strap. It's really easy. So your speed line strap is set up. I braid mine like this so that they don't, because if you're hanging this much, I mean, you see, let me show you. Let's look at how, like, compact it is like this. So it's about to there. So then this would be hanging off of you. So I braid them up like that. I've seen this from Trevor Ahern. And it's a great idea. And it's pretty simple to do. So not real difficult, but when you have that much hanging off of you, that'll snag onto a lot of stuff. Kind of gets a little aggravating. So I usually pack them away like that. But with a friction saver, you could run like this and just use a another carabiner, and you can climb off of this, you know, like that. But that's not retrievable that way. So what we do is we just add a micro pulley. So what'll happen now is when you put this on here and you set up, let me put the micro pulley on so you can see it. The rope you'll put a knot in the rope. It'll pass through your first carabiner and it will catch on your micro pulley. I'm going to show you a way to set it up, that I set it up, that is a little more like backup proof, because a lot of times micro pulleys aren't rated for a whole lot. So climbing off of them, maybe, I mean, I don't know. I don't use DRT a lot, but when I do, I use something like this. So I don't know what these are fully rated for. They're probably totally fine to be climbing on, but they're not meant for life support when you're using them in a climbing system. So I'm going to show you how I set that up too, but I do want to kind of move the camera a bit closer. That way you guys can see things a bit clearer. Oh, Roundhouse Ranch Barbecue. Good evening. What's going on? How are you? Yeah, Ground Pounder, how's the trip been going? Did 190 miles of... Dang, man. You are crazy. So here we go. Let's move right over into here. I'll get you guys close. That way will be clear for everybody. This is a very simple way to set this up. So you have your carabiner on one side. And then on this side, here's how I would set this up. So I prefer to use this little micro pulley. It says it's rated for, no way, like 18 kilonewtons. Huh. So it's rated for quite a bit. Like, I would say 18 kilonewtons. I don't know. Maybe that's like a couple thousand pounds, I would think. I think that's right. So the way I would set it up, this one is a little different. Sometimes micro pulleys will go all the way together right here, but the way this one is set up, I really like it because what I can do is take my speed line strap, put that into there, then go and clip the carabiner around, and I'll show you after it's set up. Kind of a little difficult to understand right now. So it's set up like this. This ends up going down into there. So if you look at it from that position, you're hooked up right there. So I have my climbing system here. I actually have to. Do I have to? Yeah, I might as well. I'm going to unhook and hook this thing up real quick so I can show you exactly how this ends up working. So what you'll do first is you need to decide like what end am I going to climb off of? Like get that set up. So, and what end are you going to retrieve it from? I'm going to retrieve it not from my anchor end here. I'm going to retrieve it from my tail end. So what I'll do is I'll go through the pulley first, and then, or no, that's reverse. My bad. Yeah, I set it up in reverse, whatever. So I'm going to retrieve it with my, I guess, my anchor end. So it'll go, when I go to retrieve it, I would set up, I could climb off of it. So if you see how clean this ends up being. So the way I was telling you that this backs it up, if you look here, it goes through the micro pulley, and if the micro pulley, the sheave was to fail at some point or break, what's going to happen is it's going to drop into the carabiner, and the carabiner is also hooked up. So it's just a really nice backed up way to make sure that it's not going to give way on you. So you're set up, you're climbing, and when you go to retrieve, I could probably just retrieve this by just using this here. Normally what I would do is just tie a little knot. So it goes through the first one, and what happens, it catches this one. So now I don't want to pull this display over, but you would pull on this and get your carabiner out. So I mean, it's nothing real complicated. I'll show you it one more time with nothing on it, and then I want to show you this other way of doing it. Okay. So here it is, set up, and what happens is you go to tie in, and you just need to remember whatever end you're going to retrieve it from needs to go, when you pull it out, it needs to go through this first, and this has to be the last thing that the knot or whatever it is you're using as the retriever, it has to hit this last. If it doesn't, it's going to hit this first, and it's going to lock this whole thing up, and now you got to climb up here for sure. So you have to remember in your setup, like set it up while you're there, look at it, make sure, like, what am I going to do to retrieve it? And get that set in your head before you ever get away from it. Because you're going to end up being on the ground, and you're like, oh, what end did I put through first? And you start to worry about that, and you don't want to do that up in the air. You want to remember it right from the get-go. So, yeah, that's a good way to make a quick friction saver up into the tree. It's just like that. So I've used that a lot, but I mean, I don't climb DRT much, if at all. So it's not something I use a whole lot. but I know a lot of you guys do. So I wanted to at least show it in that form. That way you have it as kind of a reference and to kind of go off of. So, hurricane, okay. Pinto pulley wood, great for that stuff. Yeah, you're right. Actually, it would work better than that one even. So, hopefully, made some chair belly. Retrievable. Okay, so now I want to show you how to set up that same friction saver setup on a straight spar, and I'm even going to do it on something that's even wouldn't be natural out in the. So this is going to be the hardest thing to make that work on, because what this is, it's turned upside down. This is the fat end, the stump end. There's the head. But for my mounts, it worked better for me to flip it up like this, so I could get it to work. But yeah, this is a spar. We're working down a spar. So my neighbors probably think I'm a nutcase. I always have Christmas tree mounts with little trees set all up in them, and I don't know. They probably think I'm a nut though. All right, so using a friction saver on something like this, that yellow strap. Let me show you. Okay, so this yellow strap, not the biggest thing, so it's kind of small. So I would move to one of these straps, which is a bit longer. Now I'd even look to see if this would work. So we could look right now. This would work, but see what happens when you're doing this is if you was to take any of your pressure off of it, it would bite eventually. You see how it's sliding? With me just, it finally bit a little bit, but it slides, especially if it's slick bark. It just, watch. It catches that one nub, but then after that it would fall. So you can't really use a friction saver when you're doing spar work a lot of times, unless they're held so tight that they got a bit of a gap in them. Like this. So if they're tight enough that they have a bit of a gap, it will bite because it's pulling them together at all times. It doesn't give it a chance to get any slack anywhere around it. But even like that, I don't really trust. So like you see the gap right here? So the way I would set it up, because like I want to show you this same setup and make it retrievable for doing spar work. So here's how I would do that. I would flip over to this purple strap because it's bigger. The most important thing here is you need to be wrapped around more than once. So I'm going to hook this thing up like I did before. I'm going to go ahead and put the climbing system into it first though. Well, I probably shouldn't. I should probably show you it without it hooked up, but I'm gonna do it like this. So when you go, I almost need to show you it without this set up like this. Let me do that. I'll show you it without the system in it, then I'll show you it with the system, and then show you it working. So let's just set it up. If you were to set it up like this, and you're not worried about your micro pulley, you got it set up. Here's how you would do it. You throw it around, you take one wrap. The most important thing about this is the retrievable side needs to go on top. Because if it goes on bottom, when you go to retrieve, that half hitch right there will stop everything from happening. So what I mean by on top is if I was wrapping around, this can't go under because this is the retrieval end. It needs to go over the top of this one. So I would wrap it around like this. And I would get there. So let's just do it with it set up like this. I won't even set it up my fancy way. we'll just leave it like this, because I want to show you it being retrieved anyway. So what happens is, where it would normally slide down this tree, it can't, because now it's in a bite on the backside, which I can show you that. It's in a bite right there where it crosses. So what happens now is you're able to climb off of this. Okay, I picked the right end. All the way down. This will stay in a bite, and it works really smooth. You get the advantage of the micro pulley and stuff. I would actually set it up the way that I was doing it before. That way I have even a little gap here, which will make it even better. So if I'm doing spar work here, okay, so if I'm doing spar work here, I'm set up. If at any point I was to decide that I want to switch over and go SRT, that's why I kind of like this kind of setup. But the problem is here, you can't really, that ends up not being possible with this setup. So you can't really switch over, because the way you would do that is tying in a knot and jamming the system. You got to stick to the DRT or be able to switch sides completely. So I would just stick. You're climbing. Now to retrieve this thing, I'll show you how this works. You would get down wherever you needed to go, or make your cut here. You're able to get pretty close here and hooked up, do your working. But then when you want to retrieve, what you can do is you can go all the way down to your next spot, get there. I don't want this to tip over on me. So I'm down a little further. I go to retrieve. I would just take my carabiner off, and I would tie a knot usually on the end, but this thing works too because it's a big sonai. So retrieval ball, a knot, or this. So as it goes through, it grabs. Oh my. Did I not set it up? Hang on. Did we do that right? I did this earlier. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Alright, my bad. Let's do that again. I think I was like stabbing into a little stub here on the back side. It got me pretty good. So that needs to go on top like we did before. We can just leave it here, wrap that under. We know it's under, so now we would go tie in, get all the way down where we was going to go, and go to retrieve it, and it comes back. So you could use that same, like actually this same setup, that's where I'm starting to get the flashback. Now, if you were climbing DRT, and say you were tied into this one here, you guys are right next to the other one, right here. So I'm tied into that. How would I do this DRT? Alright. That's where this like must have subconsciously came from. Okay, so I'm tied in DRT over on this. So this same thing here can be set up as the retrievable redirect for DRT. And most time you can't do redirects with DRT. That's where this must have like entered my brain because I seen what he did. That's got to be what it was, because I was like, why is this little trick popping into my head? But it was the one thing I kept thinking about. Okay, so okay. So the way this will work on this one is a little bit different, but pretty much the same. Oh, no, 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 no. My God, I wasn't even thinking about that. Falling over. Oh, my bad. Sorry, guys. Shoot. Okay. So here, we could climb off of this thing. It's going to fall again if I put any pressure on it. So what happens is you got it set up like this. It's like a... Can't even see it down there. See, it ends up being a redirect for DRT. Now it's off again. I'm so sorry, guys. So it ends up being a redirect for DRT. It goes from your original time. No matter which one I grab, it's going to pull it over. They're still unbalanced. But it goes from your original tie-in point over to this, keeps both. But then if you would go to retrieve, it would go through that one, back through here, over to here, and you would shake it loose, and you get a retrievable DRT redirect. So this, I know where I got it from, and it's Lawrence Schultz. He showed that technique as that. Like this technique, the wrap, he showed it in a DRT redirect for it. So it can also be used, like I was showing there, it can also be used to do spar work with a retrievable, like on a bike, with a retrievable friction saver or cambium saver, whatever it is, whichever way you call it. Okay, so now I can maybe actually keep up the comments. Okay. I know. I'm sitting here dropping trees on my head. What's up, Dano? What's going on? Oh no. Dang, man, that sucks. I don't know why them damn things go out so much. Like, anytime somebody has a problem with either like a front end loader, a bobcat, like whatever the hell it is, chippers, it ends up being that every single time. We would think they would just make them better. And then maybe everybody wouldn't have to suffer through that. So, but yeah, that little trick works good. So maybe that helps somebody, maybe not. We are going to do one more demo kind of thing here in a little bit, so I'll get into it when we get into it. Maybe for another epic trip. Really? Where are you headed now? Not believe. Yeah, John, that is kind of neat, because a lot of times if you're climbing DRT, if you go over a crotch or go around a limb or something, you end up getting way too much friction on the system, and then it doesn't work right. So I have used just a speedline strap with two, and I would put it like, if I got way far from my tie-in point, I would clip in here if I needed to go down. But it wasn't actually these little straps. I used big straps, and then no matter what, I had to go back up to it to go get it, because I didn't even know anything about retrievable stuff at that point. So yeah, the fact that it can be used like that and retrievable, somebody like Lawrence who came up with it, there's just a lot of smart guys out there, and it's not me. I'm just regurgitating. I'm doing your typical YouTube situation where I seen someone else do something cool and come show you. Like, I kind of thought I had came up with that, and as I'm doing it, it hit me where I got it from. And I'm like, dang, my bad. I should have put showing Lawrence Schultz technique instead of friction saver as the title. Oh, right on. I kind of thought, Dano, that's what you were talking about as you said it. Mine is a. Oh, appreciate it, Dana. Appreciate it. So let's go ahead and just get into like this week, what I ran into as far as like YouTube and stuff like that. Maybe we can see that's what this little part of the show each time. I feel like sometimes can be a bit dramatic. It can get like a little messy, and I I feel like sometimes it will involve some shady, like me being a bit shady to people. But I mean no one any harm. I just sometimes I like to tease and have a little bit of fun. So I just feel like people need to, especially tree guys that do YouTube, stop taking yourself so seriously. It's not that deep. Real life is, but your YouTube video, it isn't. So yeah. And I've been there so many times like where like something didn't go right and the first thought is, oh, the video is gonna suck. And I'm like, what in the hell am I talking about? So yeah. Yeah, that is what it is. I'm rambling. Feature channel. If you haven't seen these guys, go check them out. They're just as entertaining as a tree channel can be. These guys are. So yeah, trees. Go check them out. They're pure entertainment, and you're gonna see tree work, but you're gonna see it in the most raw, like effective form. It's not gonna get overly fancy. It's gonna be extremely effective, and I love that kind of stuff. That's why I like the wide range of just YouTube channels. How you can get from when you watch one person do the same thing to another, it can be completely different. I find that part cool, but you can't just type in like tree climbing on YouTube and go to recent uploads. It's insane. It's absolutely insane what gets uploaded on a daily basis on YouTube. Like, it blows my mind. But yeah, it is what it is. You know, it's oversaturated, and I think that's the case with probably every like category of entertainment. So, do you watch Buck and Billy Ray? Yes, I do. Ben, he is. Billy is like. Billy is like. I'm trying to. I can't call him like medicine for like YouTube, but he's like he's like I don't Billy's special. Like if you need a pick me up and your things are going a little rough for you, like sometimes you just, especially if you're doing YouTube all the time, you can get very negative. All you see is negative stuff. The only comments that really stick with you are the negative ones. And Billy is so like upbeat and like looks at the glass half full that I have times in life like I can't keep up with Billy completely because he would be the only person I watched if that was the case because he puts out a lot of content. But I have to go in and check him out periodically, and it's always like a pick me up. So yeah, Ben, I definitely have been watching Billy for a very long time, and one of the tips. Well, yeah, I'm not that. We'll get into that when we get into that. I'm gonna like step on the lead before I even get into it, which is silly. He looks like he's going to fire up a rock concert. Really? Yeah, maybe. Kinda. It's possible. Where is Yeah Trees? It is. I think they're actually from Louisiana, maybe, but they just travel around. It's like a group of guys that just type in at Yeah Trees, and he's a guy that will stand out in a crowd. I'll tell you that. Like, I don't even mind, John. If you were done watching to me, check them out. I mean, at least check them out. I think they make really good content, and I'm bummed to see their channel grow so slow. And it's because they're so raw with what they put out. They don't, like, they're not the prettiest, most proper channel. So if that's what you're looking for, maybe not. Yeah, then maybe they won't be your your thing, but like everything is so overly dramatic for effect and like I don't know, like oversold on YouTube when it comes to tree work that it's always nice to go see a different version that's not always positive, 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 positive. There's some roughness to it too, so just okay, well right on, John. Well, that's awesome, man. There's a lot of good reference sources out there and like I don't I don't know. Here, let me do this. Let's kind of get into the what I seen. Zach's let's see, Louisiana, but they go all over. Yeah, I know. I seen him in my town. Zach is a damn good climber too. Okay, everywhere, yes. New Orleans. Okay. What's up, Jay? We just talked so much shit. I know. The good thing we finished up quick, dude. I had no idea he was gonna be here that fast. I thought we had more time. He just scrolls back and starts like hating us all. No, we didn't say nothing, Jay. Don't even waste your time. Okay, so yeah, trees, the featured channel. They put out a short video, which if you're going to watch them, watch more than just that video because that was just like I haven't posted in a while. Here's something. I mean, it was just a bunch of random. The video title was "Random and Stupid Yeah Trees Clips from Before the Dawn of Time." So, I mean, I bet Jay was fun to go hang out. He seems like he's always got some kind of fun ride to go either look at or get in. So, okay, I have to watch a bunch of tree work guys. August, Haneke, yeah, hunting arborist, our faves. That's cool. Yeah, August is a very good tree climber. Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's so many good ones out there, but like use that as a reference. Like it's out there. But keep your like I would say definitely don't try to learn everything from one person. Like it will help to like check with other ones and be like, whoa, this guy's doing it completely different. Why? And try those things out to find your way. Because one guy's way is not going to be your way. That's why there's such a range where some guys are like, why didn't you just fall it? Well, that's because they're amazing tree fallers. And other guys are like, why didn't you rig it out? That's because they're really good at rigging. And then you get those all around guys that are pretty good at everything. So just yeah, keep your like net as wide as you can. But get as much knowledge as you can and like gather it all up and use it as a reference source. But I will also say that there's a lot on YouTube that sometimes comes off a bit unsafe too. So, but no matter what, you're dealing with tree work. I think this is unsafe. You know, it's not going to be, a guarantee that you get to go home every day. So, as long as you remember that, I think you'll get through most of it. So, it was my GP and all of it. Yeah, yeah, I'm all right. I mean, I used to be good. I remember when I used to be good. August just climbs mostly evergreens. Our big oaks are way different. Yeah, yeah, William. That's a big difference. Like they're up in Oregon, they're gonna do a tree there that's like 200 foot sometimes, can be much wider and taller, but it's a straight tree on a pole with rungs of limbs, so everything is real tight. Where you'll go to another area that has like go say Florida. We'll go total opposite. Let's go to Florida, and they have live oaks that grow across the ground and have the widest canopies that are like 100 foot wide, but the tree may not even be 100 foot tall. So it's just in that's where, like, if you're up in Oregon, you're doing those evergreens all the time, and that's like pines and stuff, and you're doing them in rungs. You're probably not accustomed to using a lot of redirects and being able to spread rigging out and stuff. Where a guy that's in Florida and he's rigging a bunch of really wide spread oak trees, he's doing that all the time. So there's yeah, everybody's gonna have their specialty. So I think it's gonna be really hard for anybody to just be perfect at everything. So what did you say? Only good without a show. You're funny. What the hell? Don't give away my secrets. Um, did you buy an akimbo yet, GP? Actually, I don't think GP did, but I think Dano. Didn't you just get one, Dano? I thought that was Dano, or was that GP? Somebody did. I thought it was Dano. Let's see. And while we talk about that, let's go to the next channel. Another one. Dang. Yeah, Dano did. I thought so, GP. That's what I thought. Um, so I bought for the wife. I bought one for the wife. I'm so used to a random crazy comment. This is so funny, Jay. Coming up during these live feeds that I see. I thought I seen somebody said that I didn't even see the name. I thought it said I bought one for your wife, and I was like, what the heck? Why do people got to say the craziest stuff? But like, yeah, I get a I get a random wild comment. It just will throw me for a loop. You'll see me like reading, then all of a sudden I'll read something. I'm like lock in, but I'll try not to do that as much. So Zacchaeus did a huge maple tree removal. It was a crane work video, and it's just showing he's came a long way with I mean, he's just pretty good all around. He's a guy that's just good all around. He's got good basics and everything, and then some things he like excels in. So I think his crane work is starting to get up there, which is really cool to see. So he's yeah, he's such a young guy that's still in it, but like he's very articulate and puts together his words very good, much better than me. So it makes sense why his channel is as big as it is. So, but yeah, Zacchaeus put out that. So if you haven't seen that, definitely go check that out. He's getting to be pretty dang good in the cranes with the crane work. So tree mugs, educated climber. So if you're looking to learn from a climber, tree mugs, educated climber, like that's the guy. Like he's so smart, and he is such like a breath of fresh air for me personally. Tree vet is good too. Oh yeah, yep. So yeah, I like, I really like, and I need to see like Reg and him because it goes from like what's up YouTube and being all like this with the camera like yeah, I'm about to do this and when I cut it, I want to do this and it's like what? Like chill out, like, comment, subscribe, like, and it's like some people maybe they're just that energetic, but like it just sometimes I enjoy flipping like because I understand being like that when you're doing tree work because the adrenaline is like sky high, and you're just like sometimes you're goofy because your adrenaline's rushing so hard. So I could see how some people, but I feel like people do that because they think that's what people want to watch. And no, I want to watch you, and I want to get a feel for your personality, not this character that you're trying to portray while you cut trees. And like maybe that works in other genres, but I don't think tree work's the place where that's really gonna work. Like maybe it will. Maybe it will. I've never seen it work yet, but that doesn't mean that it can't. So tree mugs. That's tree Muggs. Tree mugs. He did backyard walnut tight spot beside the house. Also a crane work video, and it was just like his picks are almost flawless. Like he is, the dude's good, but he's so like chill and very calm with the way that he talks. And Reg is the same way, and I dig it. So sometimes you feel like some people are so like, maybe it's just me and my personality, but like, I can start watching if it's too like overly upbeat and like crazy, like I gotta shut it off and like come back to it. It's like sometimes I can't even finish a video, and it's so with them guys, it makes me worry like, do you guys ever get nervous? Because you stay cool as a cucumber the entire time. But you have to, your heart's got to be racing inside, but they don't show it. They definitely have the ability to speak very calmly, chill, and relax, and like get through everything. But yeah, so check out Tree Mugs. Dano finally gave us a little bit of content and gave us a little teaser of what he's been doing for the last few weeks. So that's Dano's Tree Work. If you want to know how to spell it, look in the comments. He was like 5 or 6 comments ago. That's how you spell it. Dano makes great videos. He's a great climber, and he is like criminally underrated when it comes to how big his channel is and the attention he gets. So definitely go check out Dano. It's just, he just always puts out good stuff. So he gave us a little teaser. I think the video was called last few weeks, some stuff, and I think my notes say he's still killing it in the trees, and he bought an akimbo. So yeah, that's Dano. You got to go check him out. I feel like I'm underselling it. It's better than I'm even saying. So go check it out. So after that, there's a new channel I've been following, and he seems like to be a younger feller, getting out on his own, doing his own thing. His name is Owen. Also, yeah, Trees. I believe his name is Owen too. So but this channel is Limb Reaper, and he's a young guy starting a family. He's done a lot in tree work. He's done a lot of different things in tree work, like forest firefighter and stuff like that. And he's kind of been all over the U.S. He's been like East Coast. He's been on the West Coast, so he's kind of got a little bit of a taste of everything. And he's starting his own thing. So the channel is called Limb Reaper. But yeah, he put out like no, it was a community post is what it was. But yeah, seems to be an up and comer. So you can check him out if you ever get a chance. Definitely try that out. Then we got Veterans Tree Service. So Veterans makes great videos. I mean, really, really good videos. And his channel has had no problems growing. So if you watch mine and you've went down the rabbit hole far enough to find me, you've probably already found Veterans Tree Service. But if you haven't, it's Veterans, just the way you spell Veterans, Tree Service, the way you spell it. He put out a video cutting down this giant maple tree surrounded by power lines. And it was one of them trees that's totally like maxed out, and it starts to get rounded head syndrome to where it droops and it's just overgrown. And that's when you start cutting those limbs, they blow up. So and then maple being so like easily busted, he had a chunk of wood that was pretty good size. It's split in 3. So yeah, go check them out if you haven't already. He ended up putting in the last video, the one I just told you there, he put in a 9-hour climb on that one. So he was in beast mode for sure. Oh, and also if he watches this, because sometimes he'll pop in, I really like the text and the additional info that you put in on this video. Um, I don't see really anybody do that, especially in tree work. That's why I do it so much. Actually, I started doing it because there was some people that said that they were deaf and they really enjoyed it, and I think that was before they had closed caption. So I tried to put as much as I could after that. But yeah, check him out. Veterans Tree Service. I don't want to get too far behind on comments. Okay. What's up, Dan? Dan K rolling in. How you doing, brother? So August put out some content too. What was it? Oh, harness talk, and that was on a live feed. And like normal, he's fine tuning some products. Getting where your age starts to catch up with you, so you're looking for comfort in any way you can, so that you can prolong the amount of time that you can do this. So I think the purpose of his video, he was showing they're moving in a different way, or no, actually they're doing a bit of an off branch of the Monkey Beaver 2.0, and they're adding a taller back, a wide back on it. So I'm sitting there pointing at something you guys can't even see. Okay. They're adding a wide back on it right here that comes up a little more. This is the Cougar from Weaver. And the reason I got this is because I used to use a regular Cougar saddle, and think about 10 years ago, there wasn't a whole lot of options, but this one came with leg straps. I had never used leg straps before. I had always used a butt strap that goes all the way around, and it used to be a very skinny. The belt was like this, like that width. So when I moved to this one, I moved to it because I found myself being in trees for just a long time. There was just some of my climbs took so many hours, and then the veteran talking about there that he did, a 9-hour climb. I don't doubt that at all. I mean, I've had those, and they're always rough. So hope everyone has an awesome night and great rest of the weekend, and be safe out there. Jay, you taking off? Stay safe, brother. If you are, I appreciate you. But yeah, so when I moved to this saddle, I was so stoked about it. And the reason for it is the back was much wider. I found the leg straps. After I got everything adjusted out, I found all this to be so much better. But then the game changer was when I switched to suspenders. And I put suspenders on my saddle. That changed everything. Because I'm a skinnier guy. I don't have much of an ass on me. So like, if it starts to go down my hips, it's gone. Like, so the ability to take all the weight off of solely my hips, and now put it up into my shoulders and up through my back, that changed the game when it come to climbing for me. Like when I found out like the way suspenders made the whole setup change and feel, I would never climb without them again. Like now they're an absolute must. Anytime I ever put on a saddle, I need my suspenders. So I believe Dano has 17 hours in 2 days. Recent trip here. Dang, that's gnarly. That was a sick job, brother. Yes, suspenders makes it so much easier. Yeah, and especially those days when you're like hanging a saddle hanging a saddle off your saddle. Is that what you're doing? Hanging a big saw off of your side. So you go hang a big saw off here. What happens is like it rips that side of the saddle down, and it's pulling the saddle down your legs. So having that is just an extra security. And what you can do when you use suspenders is you can actually loosen the belt a little bit. If you've ever been on one of them climbs where the belt just felt like it was cutting off circulation to your legs, but you have to get it to that point because there's not a lot of adjustability. So you got to pick one of these, and the one that ends up holding it up is a little too tight, and the one that's after it ends up being a little too loose. So if you put one of these on many times, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a regular occurrence. So like when I found out, like when I put all that weight up here, I could loosen and I could go to this one, and no matter what, the belt was no longer falling down because of the suspenders. I was more than sold. I agree with suspenders. Even Monkey Beaver, they come out with suspenders specially designed for their harness. Yep, yep. Probably mess around with some. That push. Oh, that's awesome. Um, yeah, Monkey Beaver has suspenders. If you can't afford those, you can always go to Lowe's. That's where I got these from. I think they were $15. You go look in the like accessories to like workwear, like where a tool belt and stuff would be, or a hammer holder, and they have suspenders there. So yeah, my new saddle that I have has suspenders that I bought from Menards. It wasn't Lowe's, but it's basically Lowe's. So also $15. I don't know how much monkey beavers are, so I just know that it's a much cheaper route to go to your local like supplier, like hardware store, and find a set there. Probably much cheaper. So Monkey Beaver 1.0 is dope. Um, I can only imagine the 2.0, but that harness mic is one of the extremely nice and a lot cheaper. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's honestly okay. Since I've used the Stratus, which this is the saddle that I use. It's the Weaver Stratus. Um, Look how high the back pad is on this. You see how high that back pad goes? So the Monkey Beaver has now they've done like that. They're gonna raise it up so it goes a little higher, kind of like this one does. So I think most people always tell me to go get a Monkey Beaver. You need to try the Monkey Beaver. You can't say that, honestly, it is so hard for me to believe that I would like a Monkey Beaver saddle over this one. I don't think maybe like the reason I can't say that is I tried one on, but it was a very new one. The thing that I think I would probably not like all that much is there's not a whole bunch of like actual padding. Like this is thick cushion padding right here. Theirs is like a material, and it comes off floppy at times, and I don't like that. I like a bit of rigidness to it. Like I want it to be solid. Um, I want some cushion, a good amount of cushion in my leg straps and on my back straps. So is Squirrely here? Did I miss him? What up, John? What's going on, man? I have the same suspenders. Oh, that's awesome, Dan. Yeah, I think these are like APT or something like that. AWP. So yeah, they're such good suspenders. That's the 3-point version. My new saddle, it doesn't have the middle one in the back, so I went with a 4 set. And all saddles have these little accessory things usually on them, and you can just find and clip these to them. The only issue I had with these, I put so many years with them, I broke this thing here, and so I had to put a carabiner on to hold it. But yeah, one thing I didn't really like when I was watching the live feed, and I don't have the ability to fully be able to understand why, he would answer the way he answered, because I don't have a business like that I'm trying to run, and like he even says in his next video after this live feed, he puts out another video. It says, Ivy monstrosity. Should the price go up for Ivy? And yeah, like sometimes being nice will hurt you. That's what's a bummer. Like being nice and trying to help always, and like trying always my best to be just a good person. And the reason for that is I want the best afterlife. That you want to know why I do it? I want to do it for nothing other than I feel like that's the right thing to do, and I want the best afterlife. So like, even in his situation, he's being too nice, and he ends up doing it for way cheap because he said like the lady's porch was kind of starting to rot and this and that, and we'll get into that a little more. But during the live feed, somebody asked, "Can you help me adjust my saddle out?" And maybe that's not the exact words. Okay, they brought up the being able to adjust the saddle out to make it more comfortable, and they weren't asking about a monkey beaver saddle. And I guess I get it. Yeah, I mean, at the time he was talking about monkey beaver products, but he could have used one of his products because they all cross reference. Every one of these is going to cross reference a bit. So I felt really bad for the guy because he said, "No, we'll talk about our products." And like, I don't have that big of a channel, so I can only imagine sometimes maybe you get annoyed. And I'm not running a business and stuff like that. And I do shit all the time that comes back to bite me and not be good for me. What's going on, Daniel? Well, we got an OG come rolling in. Wool saddles are all great nowadays. I got extra pads. Okay, yeah, I did see that you could. What's going on, Daniel? Those stratus are very light and padded nicely. Uh, hesitate to get one. Yeah, I mean they're super nice. I really like them. It amazed me. I didn't think there were some things about it that I didn't really like from initial looking at it, but I want to show you before we end this live. Well, here in just a second, I'm gonna do it now. I'm gonna explain to you right now how to make your saddle. What makes Okay, if you get a saddle, the things you should do to make this thing work for you. And I feel like that's what the kid was asking. And I'm picturing a kid. It could have been like a 40-year-old man. So I'm just trying to make myself feel better that I'm helping a kid, not some weird dude. But let's say it was a 40-year-old man that said, "Hey, will you show me how to make my saddle more comfortable?" I spent 1,000 on a Monkey Beaver 2.0 and accessories. Wow, wow, that's hey. I can't do that kind of stuff. Like I can't. I would love to support, but like to being able to support it is out of my price range at that point. So while like I owe a lot to August, and like if I could support, I would. That's just it's a lot of things are just out of my price range, and I just can't do it. But I think it's awesome that he has so many people out there that will, and he's been able to create a business and give some people a job that it's just awesome. That's the dream. So I do respect the hell out of that. So, but that's wild, Daniel. That's a lot of money, man. But I mean, maybe it's worth it. I can't say that it's not because I've never really used one on a job like climb, swung in it. Like I put one on, tried it. I was like, that's kind of nice. It's got good coverage because really all you're feeling right there when you put it on is like where it's touching on your body, how it's fitting on your body, and like okay. So I want to catch up on comments, and I'm going to show you the few things that you would do if you get a new saddle. What you would do to just get it dialed in pretty quick, but it's going to take a few days. So, or I guess you could do it all in a day, but yeah, I'm just saying being able to do it while using it on your daily basis, like if you were working and stuff. So, has been one tree guy I always looked up to from when I started tree work. Yeah, isn't that wild, John? Dan's the man. I don't think most guys, especially some of the newer guys, like and even guys that aren't newer. I think there's fellas out there that don't even realize like Dan's the man. He's been doing, especially if you're gonna like if you think YouTube's cool, you better think Dan's cool. He's put in too much time to not be cool. So like, how long you been doing it, Dan? How many years now? Tell him. Tell him. Like, make him recognize who the OG is. So, another buddy had a near-death experience, seizure. They broke a bunch of his ribs doing CPR. Turned out he wanted to.
find out with a huge chicken in his foot. What the? Dang, man. It's another thing to hear from someone you've known for almost 40 years. Wow. Wow, man. Hearing that got me thinking about the afterlife. Yeah, brother. YouTube since 2009. That's gnarly, Dan. Like, you inspired a lot of people, brother. You really did. You know, because if you looked up tree cutting, tree work, tree climbing, like any of Daniel is popping up. And now it's oversaturated, so you may never even see one of Daniel's videos anymore. Like it'll never pop up in your algorithm anymore. Um, you could say something wrong. Like I think some of them comments right there, Daniel just left, is enough to just get you like blacklisted when it comes to YouTube algorithm. But Dan's put his time in. Dan's the man, and like we got too many like cool Dans here right now. But like Daniel, I respect Daniel a lot. I think he's been doing it, and he did it when it wasn't cool to do. Like when a lot of guys, it was always cool, but like now it's really cool. Like if you do tree work and you don't make videos, like there's something wrong with you. People think, and it's like, wow, no, like it's oversaturated. It's hard to uh to build an audience, and you better enjoy the either enjoy um filming it and recording the process and like that part of your life, enjoy that part, documenting it, or enjoy making videos because if you don't enjoy those two things also, it'll burn you out. So I've got some things coming that will blow your minds. Right on, Dan. Hey, I don't doubt it, brother. I don't doubt it. So, yeah, uh, um, so if I got a new saddle, let's do this. So the bummer part, if I hope that dude who asked that question somehow stumbles across this live feed, but that's probably not very likely. But it is what it is. I'm gonna show you first. The first thing I would do is get this actual belt set, the adjustment for my hips. Say I don't even have suspenders. I get it adjusted to my hips first. That's the first thing. Set on my up my hips and on my back like it where I need it. Now, then what I need to do is move to where do I want the straps to sit on my thighs. So I went from using a butt strap saddle that went across. It was just one strap that went here, and you set into it. It set like right behind, like right under your butt cheek, and like on the back of your thigh, and that's where it really would set, like the undercarriage of your butt. You're like cuffing your butt almost. So like now you're using straps, and having it all the way up here on like my ass cheek doesn't feel comfortable anymore. So I actually wear mine down a little ways onto like my thigh here, and with most saddles nowadays, they have these bungees. Now, if you look like back here, it's stretchy. So when I set this, I usually set it a little higher than I like because as it stretches, it'll drop a little lower sometimes. So I usually try to do that. You taking off, Daniel? Hey, stay safe, brother. Hey, thanks for stopping in. I appreciate you. Have a good one. So that's the first thing. You're gonna adjust out the back and get that set, the straps set on your leg where you like them. Okay, and then the last thing you're gonna do is set your front strap from your bridge. And the way to set this one is on like on this one, it's on the strap here. So what this is gonna do, it hooks to here, and it's gonna. Where do you want the strap? Like, you can have your strap come around your leg and go up. You can have it come around and go out. Like, the way you're gonna know where this one is comfortable most of the time is gonna be in the saddle, hanging in the saddle. So like adjustment, this can be done on the ground. The back strap, I believe, can be done on the ground. It can all probably be done on the ground, but I prefer to do this last adjustment, which is the leg straps, hanging in the saddle when I'm hanging in it. And then after that, then you can do your little fine tuning adjustments around and this and that. But you're also going to have, after the waist, that you'll have one more setting. And that's how far do you want your bridge to go out. And those settings are on the back. And you can adjust the bridge out a little more or bring it in a little bit by tightening this strap, which would pull this in. It would bring the ring closer up here, or it would put it further down here. So there's so much adjustability. You need to start playing with things. Do your waist. You got that. That's easy. Everybody figures that out real quick. Adjust the leg straps to set where you want them. Then adjust the front out. Now, if you feel like this right here is too close, like it's pulling your hips together, that's where you go adjust this. Because it's going to bring your bridge and your, like, I don't know, almost like your center D's, it's going to pull them in. And or like pull them out away from you and give you a little bit of slack, like in between it. Because when this thing's tightened all the way up, the bridge is way up here. And then it feels like when I set into the saddle, it feels like it's crunching my legs together every time. So that's where you would go and adjust this strap here, which will adjust this one and lower that one. Then you make this one, try to match it and get it right. Maybe you're a guy who leans one side to the other, like maybe this one will be a little longer than this one. There's a ton of adjustability, but like I said, get your belt put on, comfortable, set your back straps. Then you're going to do the rest of the adjusting. Put a rope up in a tree and just hang off of a climbing device or hang off of a knot and just sit there and be like, ooh, when I'm hanging in the saddle, I feel like it's crushing my hips together. You got to adjust your bridge out away from you or adjust the leg straps so that the bridge isn't pulling towards your legs. You want this to set in the middle of this and this. It's making a big X here. So the center point, which is going to be where you're tied in at, you want that to be in the middle of this. That way all of this is supporting everything evenly. And it's spreading it out to your hips and to your thighs. So adjusting them out is a bit tricky, but adjust, first the distance back here that you let your leg straps set down. I like mine down quite a ways. I'm pretty lanky and taller. So I like them sitting down my thigh a little bit. And then if you notice, they actually sit a little higher than the front sits. The front kind of droops forward because when I'm tied in, it'll even itself out. The strap will sit even on my leg when a device is put into it. So it takes a lot to get a saddle adjusted out. And I don't think it's something that you can just do right off the bat. I think sometimes it takes a little while to break it in and do some stuff before you can really get comfortable in it and to where it feels natural to be in it. It doesn't feel so awkward or doesn't hurt you in some way. So take care, Daniel. Thanks for right now. Okay. Yeah. Well, that was wild. Daniel come in throwing some heat around, didn't he? He ain't playing. He's one OG style. He came in, started talking about getting your bones picked and everything, and then he's like, peace out now. Oh, what the dang. That song like coming in hot. Yeah, that's Daniel. It should have played right before he came in. He's the man though. I like him. And I think you should respect your elders. No matter what, unless they give you a reason not to respect them, you should respect them. I feel like that's what's wrong with the new generation is apparently your parents didn't tell you you're supposed to respect your elders, and that's why you get frowned at every time an old lady. I feel like that's why I get frowned at now. Even though I still get frowned at. Like I understand older people are like look at you instantly like you're gonna be a jerk like everybody else, and when you hold the door open, they're shocked. So I guess that's the world we live in. Okay, let's see. I want to catch up on a couple comments. Okay, that was Brandon from Rusty's Tree Service that asked August. Holy smokes, Billy, it was, wasn't it? I remember him saying his name. Oh, no, 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 no. No, no, I don't think so. Actually, the guy I think that asked him, maybe it was though. But what I remember Brandon asking about was the Scooby Doo like cup holder or something like that because he had the Scooby Doo saddle or something. So I imagine he spent a lot of money. He got a customized 2.0, I think. So I think he's wanting to get the suspenders or the cup holder or something else on it. But you might be right, Billy. I do know that he was in there because they were answering his questions and stuff too. So the all-seeing, but I'm telling you, Billy does see it all, man. Yeah, I ain't questioning Billy. You're right. You're right. It was Billy. You're right. Billy is never. He doesn't miss anything. I'm telling you. So he's always there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So August also put out that Ivy video. I personally, he asked the question: should the price go up for Ivy? And what do you guys think? You get a tree, it is what it is. Then all of a sudden, ivy attaches to it, and it's not just a piece of ivy that goes of it. It covers the entire tree. Is that tree still the same? If you come back, are you doing that tree for that same price that you were going to do it when it was standing without the ivy? So, to me, I feel like it's kind of a silly question. Absolutely, it changed it. But compassion will turn you poor in these times. And like August, I have done more than my fair share for pennies just to try to help because I felt like I was the only person that could do it. And I wanted to show that I could do it because they were told, like, hey, you need to take all these fences out and you need to bring this machine in and this machine in and there maybe need a crane and like, and I'm like, no, no. So, like, ego and compassion, where I like helping people, have put me in some situations where it was insane. But so I've done trees where there used to be a maple tree there. You know, let's say the maple tree was, let's say, about that big around. And it now is a bush. It was full size mature maple. It now is a bush where ivy goes all the way up and touches the ground. And it looks like a pure bush, the whole thing. You can walk inside of it. And the ivy has drooped down and is touching the ground. I don't remember the name of that video, but the tree was absolutely falling apart dead, and I was actually climbing ivy to do the tree. I wasn't actually climbing the tree, and I was having to rig it out. So, yeah, that was a wild one. That's one that I'll remember for the rest of my life. So, you take time and smell the roses. Yes. I hate ivy. Yes, Dan. Me too. Like, you're right. It was Veterans Tree Service that asked August. Oh, really? Haven't gotten out of my canoe yet. Dang. But okay, well, if it's Veterans Tree Service, oh no, you know what, Billy? Yeah, it's not the Veterans Tree Service that we're thinking of. It's Born Again Veteran, maybe, or something like that. Born Again. He comments all the time. He's a good guy, really, really good guy. Dang it, Billy, making me look bad. I suffer from CRS. Uh, I'll be danged if I work, and not live. Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, I think it's like born again veteran, or veteran born again, or I think that may be the guy, Billy. I may be wrong, but I know there's Veterans Tree Service and there's like born again veteran or something like that. So, I think maybe it may have been him, But if I hope it is somebody like that, so that they can pop on and or I can see him at one point and talk to him, and like I'll stamp the times and stuff for them so they can go back to this live feed and be able to get the info because it's pretty simple to. I just think some people don't realize where the adjustability is at on certain saddles. Like what things do you adjust to make it more comfortable? So and I hate that some people, this is the part that I took a bit of offense. Like I thought that was a bummer. August was definitely not rude. Um, he was justified to say it 100%. But I know how some. Okay, I'm gonna talk about myself personally. I It's so hard for me to ever ask somebody for something, advice or a favor or anything. Okay, but when I finally do, or I reach out, I'm not the guy that likes reaching out or asking like for any. I feel beyond awkward, like unreal awkward, and like I hate it. I hope that guy's not like that because like he kind of got shut down really quick because he wasn't asking about a monkey beaver saddle, and at that time they were talking about monkey beaver saddles. So hopefully that doesn't discourage that guy. He keeps asking around, and he'll get his info eventually. But my life is nothing but work. I wouldn't know what to do. The smell of the roses stuff never lasts long enough. I wish it would. Yeah, Dano, you'll get it. You're earning all that time. Good things are bound to happen, brother. Just do good things. I think things will work themselves out and will work out for you. So you're just grinding right now. Just be safe, you know, because amazing things can happen because you have time. So don't cut your time short because you may be missing out on a lot of amazing things. So like, stay safe. That's the only thing that matters. Um, yeah. So the other, okay, who else put out videos? Another channel I really, really, really like. We got 18 thumbs. Cool. I appreciate that. Anytime you can hit that button. I'm not saying it because I hate being a YouTube tree climber. It's embarrassing. Like, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Like, comment, subscribe. Um, but one of my favorite YouTube channels is Meta Spencer. So Spencer is just incredibly witty and smart and very, very good at pretty much, it seems like anything he does. Anything he does. So the guy is very entertaining. One of his videos was called Will It Start? And he had went over, he's got a 1967 Ford 3000 tractor. And it took him multiple days of giving it everything he had. But with the help of a buddy, he fired it up, which I think is so awesome. Jesus Christ. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Ashley. Thank you. Um, so, yeah, Spencer did that, and he's just super entertaining. He made working on a tractor entertaining for me. So, if you've never seen his channel before, it's Meta Spencer. METASPENCER. So he did that, and then he did a tree job, which is normally what most of his comment or his it's usually what most of his content is. So the video was called "An Extra Set of Hands," and that is wild because if you have ever seen Meta Spencer's channel, if you've seen Spencer do work, he does everything alone, everything by himself. Yeah, Ashley come in talking just facts, like, yeah. And to say that goes, that exactly what she said goes the same for her and everybody else here. Dano, GP, Billy, Dan, like all you guys. So, he had an extra helper, which is normally not the case. He's always alone, so it was funny to see him actually have some help for once. I think it's the first time I've ever seen a video where someone was actually there to help. He called his wife in to pull a rope one time. That's it. So yeah, it was really cool to see um, him have some help. I think his buddy's name was Isaac, I believe. I think that's right. Um, yeah, they did everything from climbing to cleanup on it. So really cool videos. Go check out Spencer and his channel. He's very very good. So Spencer is a class act, 100%. Dano knows, and Dano knows tree work. So if there's one thing Dano knows. That's what people ask me all the time. Is this all you've ever done? Yeah, this is all I know, and this is all I've ever done. So if I had to do something else, I'd be in trouble. So yeah. I saw the video from Meta Spencer. Yeah, Billy, I know you've seen it. You didn't have to tell me, Billy. I know you see everything. So next channel is the Nation's Climber. It used to be DQMC07, and that's Daryl. Daryl is an all-around, seems to be a pretty good human American, like just a good dude. So he really got into tree work and like has became pretty good. Picks up on stuff that seems like pretty quick, and I think the bug has bit him, so he's like a bookworm into it. And I have my spells where I get like that, and he's not the youngest guy either, but he just continues to get better on a daily basis, and it's just really cool to see. So the channel is called The Nation's Climber. He put out a video, how much would you charge? And he just did a job or did a tree, and he wanted to know how much you would charge. That's good interaction with your audience. That's smart as a YouTuber to do titles like that. So YouTube is my TV. Yeah, for most people, I think it is nowadays. It is mine too. Like I pay for cable and all kinds of like. I think I have Wi-Fi and stuff, but my wife uses it. I don't use it. But let's see. What else did? Oh yeah, he asked what you would charge. Personally, I think it to me that seemed like a title he came up with afterwards because I need a little more info. Like he should have shown some views, like just my little critique to the video, shown some of the views of things that were like potential hazards and the surroundings. He just like when the video, some people want that though, so he may be your cup of tea. The video starts and he's right into like about to head up his tree, and so if you're no nonsense kind of person, you want straight to it. At least his last video was like just straight to it. But Daryl's a really good guy, puts out pretty good content, so check him out for sure. The wrenches are flying. You gotta watch Billy. He throw a wrench at you. Oh yeah, he also put out another video. It was called "Rigging Over a Shed and Trying Out the 500i." It was just a good video. He's doing some, I think, bucket work and bucket rigging and climbing and rigging. Two different things as far as I'm concerned. The bucket work, the risk of falling is not there anymore. You can rig big. You can flop that. So he was doing some gnarly rigging. So he was in a bucket. So check that out if you get a chance. That's the Nation's Climber. Then Ground Pounder's been putting on straight canoe videos. Like he's taking you along his journey. He's on this long canoeing trip right now. So go check him out. He put out a couple videos, and you get to see some beautiful views. And while he's doing his trip, so go check Ground Pounder out. Rig big, yeah, he was rigging big, wasn't he? Okay, another. I'm gonna do some kind of newer channels now. I got 3 of them. one of them's not totally new, but we haven't seen a whole lot from him. Usually it's just shorts. But Rob the Climber, which is a guy that I like. Rob seems like just an all around good dude, taking care of his family. I respect Rob a lot. He put out a video, Big Tulip Poplar Flop, and he had to fall this tree right up on a retaining wall. So if you've ever had to do that, it's tricky. If you impact the ground too much, you knock the wall completely down. So go check out Rob the Climber. Um, Another channel is All Trees and All Seasons. One of you guys recommended them to me. I had seen them in the comments before. I think I've seen some of his stuff. I recently subscribed. He put out a video called He Cut the Roots. Now we have to remove the tree. And he was doing some rigging, climbing. He was also mentoring and teaching a greenhorn. Maybe the guy's not, but teaching a guy climbing, little trick tips, teaching him some rigging. With your pony half-inch. What? I only use half-inch rope. Okay, so damn, I lost track of what I was saying. Oh yeah, so all trees and all seasons. The video is called "He Cuts the Roots." Now we have to remove the tree. This is something that I recommend every guy out there, if you have the time and you're trying to learn like new techniques, find those opportunities on jobs. So this job was that they were doing was like a locust tree, a honey locust, and I don't think it had any thorns though. I didn't see any, but it was just over some like three-tiered, just a wood fence. Very simple, three-runged wood fence. So if something was to get broke by the new climber, it wouldn't be extremely expensive. So they used that opportunity right there as a good time to teach. So they got the climber there. He was rigging, like, to be teaching a guy, and then when I seen this guy rig the cuts he was, it was wild. Like, he was rigging some huge stuff. So they used that opportunity not only to teach on that day, but I feel like they used that opportunity, and everybody should use those opportunities to familiarize yourself with these little techniques, things that you're learning. So sometimes when you're watching a YouTube video and you question, why would you rig that? Why would you do this? Why would you do that? Maybe they're just trying to get some practice. I've been guilty of it myself, but I would much rather learn and become familiar with something when it's not life or death, and then be more dialed in when I need it and I have to use it. So I like my 916 dinosaur. Yeah, I use 5/8 all gear husky bull rope and 9/16 all gear husky bull rope. I also, the 5/8 husky bull rope is 240 foot long, and in the next video I cut it right in half. So that'll be the next thing you guys are seeing. So oh wow, you got an HD VP Blade Dancer. How to make a race chain for steel MS 261 chain. Right on. Right on, man. Facepalm. So yeah, it was just awesome to see him use those opportunities to get better at things. They were teaching the dude, so that's a good video to a tree where you got multiple climbers in one tree. It's kind of cool to watch. That's all trees and all seasons. And then next would be I'll watch a channel called JLM Tree Service, and he put out a video declining maple, the tops part 2. And then he also put out a video called Hitting 5,000 Subscribers. Will this tree guy survive? That threw me for a puzzle because I was like, I took the opportunity I figured I would kind of feature him a little bit on this because I seen that his YouTube channel, he had like 1,000 or so subscribers, maybe a 1.5 or something like that, maybe more than that. But that's around where it was at. And then he put out this video, 5,000 subscribers! Exclamation! Exclamation! Will this tree guy survive? Exclamation! Exclamation! And I was like, whoa, man, his channel must have blew up. I went and I checked. No, it didn't. I don't know where the title comes from, so that kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop. But there's some good old country boys. He seems like he loves doing tree work. So if you like the hillbilly aspect of me, that's another kind of country boy that does tree work. So if you are interested, maybe check them out. That's JLM Tree Service. One thing I do want to discuss is like there is a technique to snap cuts, and I feel like I see it done so wrong all the time. Um, and just because the bad things don't happen to you every time you do it doesn't mean that you're doing it right. So like a snap cut on a piece that's standing like this is going to be 1,000 times different than one that's like this because that's under pressure. You're no longer cutting both compression or both compression wood. You're cutting a compression end and a tension end, so it's going to respond completely different. Whether that be it's going to pinch your bar or it's going to barber chair. So yeah, I think some people just think snap cut is undercut, top cut. And no matter how you do it, that's a snap cut. And that's not. You can really get hurt. And I've seen some barber chairing and some wild things when guys do that wrong. Because what you need to think of what you're creating. If you're doing one like this, you do the undercut on it and you cut on the top. You know what happens when you go to fall a tree and you made the notch too shallow and it closes up? Then it barber chairs? That's what you're doing up there. When you're doing a branch, it's under tension, and gravity's pulling down like crazy. It's at an arc. When you make an undercut and you cut here, when it pinches that cut shut, now it's got the potential to barber chair. So I think some guys just don't realize that. So it's just something to watch out for. Good old shaker cuts. Yeah, yeah, yep. I've heard them called step cuts and all kinds of stuff. Sometimes you got to bump them the opposite direction. Like if you would break it off like this, like if you cut here and here, a lot of times you break them like this. Boom, you hit them like this because like if you go back and forth, it won't work. But I don't know. Snap cut, very effective technique, but yeah, I see it done and trying to be used a lot of times on trees or branches that are completely horizontal, and that's under an extreme amount of tension. So, what if it barber chairs? No big deal. Yeah, I mean, if you're really fast, I couldn't personally. I can't speak those words because too many people in my industry and people I've known have either died or been injured from that. So even though it's exciting as hell, barber chair is very scary. So just watch out for it. But yeah, if you're expecting and you're always on your toes and you're prepared that something like that can happen, HDVP, like I mean, you should always be in that mode when you're using a chainsaw because you're cutting something that you can't see inside of it. You don't know what's going on in there, and all you can do is take a bunch of educated guesses from the way gravity works, the estimated amount of weight that is there. Wow, look at that spider. That's crazy. He was white. Huge. So yeah, and let's go to the last couple that I got. The barber chair you described was no big deal. I can imagine if it come on. Well, see, I just had one recently where I was up in a tree. I was rigging a piece out. I made my face cut here, and then when I started to make my back cut, it broke, and it barber chaired up. So what happened is this big, huge log stood up in the air, and this piece that would normally fall this way stood up at my face, and it stood up on a point, and then it fell off, and my notch was still there. It just had a crack in it. So as I made the back cut, it stood up to a point where it could break. Which when that piece, where it would normally, if I was cutting it here, this thing would go fall over. So what happened instead, when I put my notch and I went to cut, it broke all the way to there. So this piece kicked up in the air, and it stood up on the other part of it, like it's in. So when this comes around, that's what gets people sometimes. Or it breaks, and when it falls, that piece smashes them. So that's usually the worry. So please explain it, but slower. Did that kind of make sense, HD? Or let's call you Blade Dancer. That sounds cool. That makes sense, Blade Dancer? Because what'll happen when it was a barber chair a lot of times. Let's see if I can do this. Yeah, okay. So here's what'll happen with a barber chair a lot of times. Do you see this? Nope. Let's get right here. Here's like what I was dealing with. So what happened is I put in, okay, yeah. I put a notch here. Okay, and I'm gonna fall it this way. So as I started to cut here, I made too shallow of a notch. Like it closed too soon. So this became under pressure right here. So my cut hadn't went all the way through. So what happened is this part here broke all the way up to like there. So where it would normally hinge here, this piece stands up and ends up looking like this. I hope this makes sense. See what I mean? That's what, if that went down, see where normally, as if this was falling over right here, the way it's supposed to work, it should simply just go, let's see, notch. It should just go over like this. You know what I mean? So it should just go over like that, but instead it stands up. It barber chaired here because your notch closed up right here. It closed up and it made it split. Like it was forcing, the weight had already came over it, put all this pressure, and you had cut in and it had a seam right there. So it stood up, and this about hit me in the face. Because a lot of times where you're going to be is you're going to be positioned right back here is the climber. Okay, so if I was right here again, what happened is I'm hanging there. This thing almost, as it went up right here, it about got me in the face. So, I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, I'm not the guy that should be explaining it. Like I'm trying though. I think loggers have a lot more experience with barber chairing than a lot of tree guys do. So they're doing production. I understand. Oh, okay. That's all I needed to hear. HD VP. Now, that's all I wanted to do. If you understand it now, I am good. I like to cut my face cut right around 50%. Yeah, I mean mine varies. Sometimes I'll go like not in very much because I want a bunch of backwood, of cutting on the back. And it also depends on where I want it to tip. Like if it's kind of got a back lean and I'm pulling on it with something and putting a bunch of tension, sometimes I want a longer back cut because I want to start to stretch those fibers and that hinge as I'm cutting into it. But yeah, it just varies. It varies. Every single one like is going to be a little different, and it like the shape of it and where I need it to go is going to determine so much of it. And playing around with widening the back strap on a notch has changed a lot of things for me. I've been able to make things, manipulate them in ways that I couldn't before. Even a lot of dead trees, because you're taking and like making where that wood normally, when it's like a regular notch, it's really tight right here. That doesn't hinge as easy because it has to pull wood out. Where if you have a wide back strap and you cut, that wood is easier to fold. So keep that apex wide open. Yeah, yeah. I like running a open notch if I question it as well. Yeah, yeah, and just widen it up. Give it plenty of time. I mean, the wider the mouth or the notch, the longer it has, and you can actually. Sometimes you want to keep it. You don't want it because what happens when the notch closes? You have now separated. Sometimes you don't want it to ever close. Like so, say that tree goes to go over, and it's on the ground, and the notch never closed up. Well, you can keep the tree on the stump sometimes by having such a wide open mouth that it doesn't even pull itself off the stump because the notch never closed all the way. So it didn't pull wood and come off. Um, a traditional notch like this is going to keep the tree on the stump better than a humboldt, because a humboldt, now this is like a slide, so when that weight drops down onto it, it slides down it. Where a traditional notch, it's going to come over and it's setting on this ledge. So you can keep one on a stump a little better with a traditional notch too. I just did this with a lot of times it works really, really good with our shagbark hickories and stuff. I did one just recently with a shagbark where I keep it on the stump. So that video comes eventually. So. As I see, you had a Y up there. Sometimes the Y's pulls very low inside the tree. And the fibers, yeah, that's not. It's actually, it wasn't really like that, but I just needed to show like the branch, and so I randomly put a crotch in it. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Blade Dancer, BD. I can't abbreviate that. You have enough abbreviations before. Blade Dancer. We'll do that. John, what's going on? Still in it tonight. More applied physics. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's why I'm fascinated with this aspect of tree work. It's like I've always enjoyed numbers and angles and stuff like that. And the video that is coming out, I'm almost done with it. I need probably another day to fine tune a little bit of it. I'm gonna do a sweet gum tree that is dying, so it's incredibly brittle. But with this tree, I ended up spotting it actually from the ground, and I'm like, ooh, that tree has a bad spot, like a very, very, very bad spot. So the way this tree was, it it went up quite a ways, but at the very first like main union, it did this weird curl out like this, and then this side did the same thing. And it had like a branch there, and then a branch like there, and then there's like maybe one here, and that one there, but there was nothing here, and it leaned out towards the house. So I'm like, what is going on? I can tell by tree structure that there's something wrong here, which is like the worst spot. When I got up there, it had a huge like hole in it, and then like all the branches were coming out from it, and they went way out. So it made every one of these branches, which would come way out here, I'd be way out here, they would like bounce as I was on them, because they were all coming back to this spot where this big huge hole was at, and it was full of water. So that's coming out. That'll be the next one, and you guys may like it. I think I may call the video "I hate days like this," like, or I quit, because I even say it in the video, like I hate days like this, because I cut my rope and I did something else, like it just was not. I spent like 30 or 45 minutes trying to set a throw ball. It was one of them days to start out. Plus, I was by myself. I was just trying to help my younger brother, and so I didn't have Jake, and they needed to do a bunch of rigging. I cut my main biggest bull rope. I was so bummed out, but yeah. Dano, take off. See you, Dano. Thanks for hanging out, brother. I appreciate you. So the last person, let's just do that. The last person, the last channel. Oop, nope, we got two. We got Peter Shea. Peter is a really good guy. He's a tree whiz too. Pretty good at pretty much everything, but he ended up doing a neat little trick that something similar, but I probably would have done or I would have used maybe ratchet straps, but he ended up with a branch that was coming out, and the branch had started to bust and split, and so he was going to rig the whole branch off, but he was worried about it barber chairing, so he ended up putting 3 or 4 half hitches down it and then anchored it, and the half hitches kept the branch from barber chairing and splitting apart as they came down. It's pretty gnarly little setup, but check out Peter. He's really good. That's PETER space SHEA. That's how you spell Shea. And he also fired up his chainsaws. I think he does a lot of his own chainsaw work, and he's got some pretty nice, like, hopped up saws. So nothing makes you look more like an idiot than a bad day with a throw ball. That's a guy that Joe Trav here has had his, yeah, you know, man. It's like so demoralizing, and especially when you like hit the same spot, or you get like 1 or 2 throw balls stuck. Ugh. I think I spent probably 45 minutes, and spoiler, I didn't get it. I think I ended up like throwing to the first branch in the sweet gum. I was trying to throw into an oak that was next to the sweet gum, so I'd have to be tied into the sweet gum because I knew it was going to be really bad. Then when I got up there, as I was headed up, I found that hole, and I just was like spazzing, and like, man, I should have tied into one of these other trees, but I'm committed now, and it was one of them days. And then in the process, I cut my rope, so. And I cut it in the middle of a 240-foot line. So setting a line is like playing horseshoes. Yes, it is. Any experience with ripsaws? No, I've never used any, but yeah, Ground Pounder says Aaron Lynch is the guy that ported saws, so you can check him out. I know Peter does his own, so yeah, if you get a chance, Peter shows a bunch of his saws, and you can check him out. And then we'll get to our very last channel, and probably the end of this live feed, unless somebody else has any more questions or anything that they want to talk about. I don't want to catch up on comments. I got my throw stuck one. That's awesome. You guys, here, I'll read Travis's comment. That's hilarious, dude. Hey, I mean, I've been there, man, but instead, that's where you're like, I don't care, I'll just go buckstrap. But yeah, I've been there. I got my throw balls stuck once and had to call another tree guy with his set, with his to set my line. I felt like a dumbass. You're just being honest, brother. I've been there. There's a reason that I have like 4 different throw ball setups on me at all times. So let's just leave it at that. I have at least probably 4 setups. So yeah, I I've been in your situation many times. So, but hell, that sucks, man. That's a rough one, isn't it? And sometimes that throw ball is the make or break kind of moment. Yeah, yeah, it is. It sets the tone for the day, but it, then it's hard to have a really bad throw ball situation and then try to turn the rest of the day good. And like I thought I was doing it on this day, and then I cut my rope, and I was like, I should have known. It's the throw ball's fault. Depending on the tree, I usually just go for the easiest toss and then advance my line as I go up if there's plenty of limbs. Yeah, yeah, that's what I would have normally done, but I was avoiding trying to get in to be tied into the tree that I was doing. So I was trying to make a very very high throw in an adjacent neighboring tree so that it would be feasible for me to use the other tree but do this tree. So if that makes any sense. So that's the reason it was so like have to hit that spot because I'm not going up that tree. So I'm not going to have the opportunity to advance that line. So I needed to be in the right spot from the get go, and that did not happen. And Squirrely John, I was forced to go that route, like you say you do, and he got the job done. No, sometimes I feel like maybe I was just overthinking that, and I should have just went with the easy throw, saved some time, and got to it. But at that point, there was no one was there. I was by myself, and I was waiting for my brother to get there anyway. So I felt like I got some time. I'll try to set this throw, and then after about 4 or 5 times of hitting the limb and it bouncing off, it became personal, and I was like, I'm getting it. And then it was like, no, you're not. And I was like, yes, I am. And then it was like, no. And I was wrong. I didn't get it. So okay, safe but squirrely. Safe bet squirrely. Yeah, Squirrely John, that's definitely a safe bet. So the last one is guilty of treason. Guilty did removing a big fur with 0 drop zone. Um, that's out of his probably comfort zone. Uh, his situation usually seems like there's space to do a lot of just dropping things, going up and cutting them and dropping them. There's a drop zone for just chucking. Um, but on that one, he was forced to do a bunch. He couldn't fall a log. He was forced to do a bunch of negative rigging and stuff, and he did great. He definitely hasn't, even though he's not using that all the time, he's still very skilled at it. I think he did a great job. But they did use the jailbreak on that video, and I don't know. I don't know what their opinion because I can't put words in their mouth. But I don't think I would personally be a fan of the product. I think it becomes too many um, very sharp bends in comparison to a wider bollard with much smaller bends. So what happens on a jake break is you've got the rope weaved in these real tight kind of bends. So it puts coils in the actual tail of the rope, and there's a little pigtail that you got to run it through, and it gets stuck in the pigtail. Then you got to pull down and release it, and like get that off. So if it's making coils on the tail, it can grab your leg, you can get loops in it, it can grab your fingers. So I find that stuff to be crazy sketchy. I think the design works. It can probably be very effective, but I don't really think I like the fact that it makes coils. That's the reason I switched from the porter wrap. If you notice, a bollard has a much bigger like tube that it's made out of most of the time, and a porter wrap is much smaller. And a porter wrap you have to go in and do like a fold to where it changes direction. Actually, it's not always running in the same direction. Rope comes down, goes up and under, and then what happens is there's that kind of sharp bend on that skinny piece of pipe, and that ends up causing coils to happen. So multiple wraps on that small tube causes the tail of the rope to coil up. and I just find it to be dangerous. I don't like it, and that's why I love the fact that my bollard doesn't create coils. We don't get pigtails, so get a GB bollard. Oh yeah, Squirrely John. Yeah, that's aggravating when you throw it up and it doesn't go through. Jake just got me the other day. I was letting him pull the rope up through my climb line, and he didn't hook it on the rope good enough. So he takes the tow ball off. He goes to hook up my climb line, and he didn't hook it up good enough, and it made it about 15, 20 feet, and all of a sudden it fell off. And now the pull line comes down, and I have to remake the throw. So yeah, there's a list of things that can go wrong just on the throw ball part. Like I was throwing, and this lady's whole front of her house was windows. Bust a window out. Like it's just sometimes it gets crazy. I just watched Guilty's new video. It's a good one. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I find Randy extremely entertaining, um, and so is Guilty. So um, Jake's a very good tree climber, and he's living the dream. I love to see it. I hope everybody gets to do that. That would be awesome. No wrapping with the bollards. Yep. The jailbreak is supposed to prevent those coils, I thought. That's what I heard too. But watch Jake's video. Guilty of treason. They use it in that, and that is the main issue that they ran into. So I've never used the jailbreak. I haven't either. Our half-inch stable rig coils up with the porter wrap. Yeah, yeah, porter wrap. It's those sharp points where it goes around the little skinny piping where it anchors to. I think those points is what makes that happen. And if it was just pure clean loops, and I think the loops are too tight. So the pipe is too small, so the loops become very small loops, and multiple of those causes it to get coils. So yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the Chad. You're right. That's the most entertaining part about them is the fact that they can figure out a way to make a job that's extremely dangerous and taxing on the body and make it fun and enjoyable. So yeah, that's where I got to run over every once in a while and get a pick me up and a positive boost from watching bucking and stuff. So my pull wrap is made from 3-inch stainless tube, so it don't twist like a normal tube. Right on. That was some good rigging. So I'm finished, guys. We're 2 hours in. My wife's probably wondering if I'm ever coming back. Uh, but that's it. I appreciate you guys hanging out. Like always, um, we're gonna grow this channel slowly, and we are very close to finally, after 10 years, it seems like we're about to hit 10,000 subscribers. So stoked on that, guys. I appreciate you. Um, yeah, yeah. Thank you guys for hanging out. I appreciate you all. Billy, thanks for holding on along. Ground Pounder, you too. There's my mod. So, guys, if I can help you with anything, just ask. I'll catch you next time. Stay safe and try to do something for somebody. See ya.